The dairy industry in Canada is structured so that each province is pretty much self-sufficient in dairy products through the domestic quota system. The Dairy Farmers of Manitoba organization administers the provincial daily butterfat quota allotted to them from the Canadian Dairy Commission. With average provincial herd size of around 80 to 100 cows and increasing, some of the smaller units are still tie stall, with the larger units being either free stall or straw pack housing. Operating expenses are roughly 65 to 70% of annual milk sales, leaving an adequate surplus to generate a good family income. The buildings are mostly insulated, having an internal feeding area to facilitate a total mixed ration feeding system. Some cows will graze during the summer months, but the majority of herds are confined to a loafing paddock or kept inside, being fed the same hay or silage diet all year round, which helps to maintain a consistent milk production to comply with the daily milk quota system. Alfalfa is one of the main types of forage grown, especially for the dairy industry, with the first cut being normally taken around mid-June. Ideally suited to our climate, an established crop should annually yield between 2 to 2.5 tons of dry matter per acre from 2 cuts, at an average of 18 to 20% protein. When cut for hay, it will be left in the swath for a few days until cured, and then made into either round or big square bales. Any hay made into small square bales will likely be collected and stacked with a bale picker. Barley, oats, and peas are sometimes grown as a break crop, being cut as green feed for cattle and stored as silage in wrap bales, bunkers, or tower silos. Canada's dairy industry is founded mainly on the Holstein breed. Jersey and Brown Swiss are two of the lesser favored breeds, with Ayrshire cattle slightly more popular. Dairy farms naturally need extensive buildings for cattle housing and milking purposes, combined with feed and grain storage. Other than tie stall barns, which have a milk line, milking systems will likely comprise of either a herringbone parlor, rapid exit system, or robotics, with dairy farms required to have milk tank storage capacity for 3 days of production. Dairy farms rear their own replacements, with plastic kennels sometimes used as a calf rearing facility.
Hi, we moved from Kelso in Scotland to Boissevain, Manitoba in November of 1998. Our experiences of moving across the Atlantic were very favourable. We purchased a solely grain farm. As you'll see behind us, we built a dairy farm. That's what we had in Scotland, dairy and grain. The process and the experience we've had have been it's basically the same. You have to milk the cows and you have to seed and harvest your crops. The biggest difference in Canada is our seasons are more defined, a little bit more extreme, and seem to be shorter, although there is a long one in the winter time when it's 20 to 30 below and it's cold. But we get 30 below and we also get 30 above in the summertime. We milk approximately 60 to 70 dairy cows. We have a robotic milker that was installed 2.5 years ago, and we grain farm 2,400 acres. Our land is spread around 11 miles one way and 7 miles the other way.
When we arrived here, we were very well received by the community. Very quickly we had visits to the door just welcoming us here, and we quickly kind of were invited to go join the curling club, which we were both interested in. Our children were preschool, so we didn't have any experience of that in Scotland, but they just started here just at the same time as their peers. They had had some meeting up with them in some nursery school classes and a preschool mums and tots group that we started going to, so that was an excellent way to meet, mix in with other people that were similar ages to ourselves and our children. The general just day-to-day household stuff of getting groceries and farm supply was all very easy. Just everything was available in the town just 3 miles away in Boisavane, and if not, Brandon was only 45 minutes away, which anything that we couldn't get locally we could get there.